Shanks literally comes out of hibernation to battle two of the worst generation, led by Captain Kidd, and unleashes a divine departure, a move used by the former king of pirates that even sent Kozuki Oden flying, and Oden stood at an equal level against a prime Kaido. It's safe to assume that attack was one of Shanks' most powerful attacks, because a kid who had been battered and bruised by both Kaido and Big Mom's ultimate misery still refused to be knocked down. However, this attack literally cut his entire dreams apart. This shows the true power present within a supreme grade sword, as Shanks does wield Griffin, which would be placed at an equal level to that of Whitebeard's sword Muraka Moguri. This does beg the question to ask why a character who has less screen time than there is of Zoro just getting lost in random places resorted to showing such violence to the point where he killed an entire crew that was on their knees begging. As Dory and Broggy quite accurately said, if you point a gun at someone else's hometown, then be prepared to be attacked yourself. All the pirates allied with Shanks are known to be notoriously weak, to the point where Kidd wouldn't even have to get involved fighting them to defeat them. And having eliminated 6 ships with a single blast from his damned cannon was enough to put Shanks on warning. This was nowhere near the full power of the newly awakened Jiki Jiki no Mi, which literally crushed Big Mom with his huge bull. Observation Haki's true potential was shown to us by Katakuri in his fight against Luffy, and seeing glimpses into the future to predict attacks itself seemed like a terrifying power to be wielded by the vice captain of a Yonko. However, Kaido and Big Mom didn't necessarily seem proficient in this type of haki, and apart from Luffy, most of the worst generation didn't seem to be either. However, as usual, Shanks is the exception. With the ability to see minutes into the future, he saw a future so disastrous that he set off running immediately. The fact that he used one of his strongest attacks also goes to show us the severity of the situation, and many people say that it was because of his damned punk, but that attack was just the warm-up, and Kidd did not travel all that way to an empire's territory just to get absolutely demolished. He was either very delusional at the level of where he stood, or Shanks is so strong that it's not even funny. However, I strongly believe that Kidd could have stood at a level where even Shanks would be forced to fight the good fight, but he just wasn't expecting attack of that magnitude. Keep in mind that Shanks has been reigning as a Yonko for over 6 years, and even held back Kaido at one point during the Marineford War. I theorize that Kidd obliterated Shanks' main fleet shortly after destroying his allied ships, which would result in severely injuring or even killing many of his members that caught the full power of his blast. Luckily for Shanks, none of his crewmates are Devilfoot users, so they are able to swim freely. But if news got out that one of the Yonko's main ships had been destroyed along with some of its founding members, then that sort of damage would be irrecoverable for Shanks' reputation. Also considering that all of Shanks' sway with the government and influence on the islands he governs would fall, and quite possibly be taken over by another Yonko like Blackbeard. In those 15 seconds, Shanks saw 2 minutes into the future and saw everything that he had built over 6 years come collapsing down, and the change in balance and destruction was too great that Kidd had to be taken care of with the utmost hostility. While everyone laughs at Kidd's crew, it must be remembered that he has one of the strongest crews in the worst generation, and the diverse abilities present in his crew allows him to have a fighting edge. But apart from Killer, we still haven't seen any other noticeable feats from the other crew members. Killer was the only one who was quick enough to react to take Shanks' attack with Kidd, whereas the other crew members could barely process what happened. Killer did get absolutely stomped on by Zoro in Wano, but to be fair, he wasn't in the right sense of mind, because that was quite an embarrassing loss. He literally stole one of Killer's swords and just straight up went through him with the Purgatory Onigiri. Coming back to Shanks' crew, Ben Beckman, who is his right-hand man, didn't even bother moving a muscle, and his observation haki is supposedly even higher than that of Shanks. Being a gunman, it only makes sense for his haki to be on par with Yasop. As we saw on Marineford, he is the type who wouldn't hesitate to point his gun at an admiral, and yet he didn't think any action from his side was necessary. And this begs the question, is his haki able to predict the changed future that Shanks would create, and if so, then this new level of haki would be game changing for Luffy to learn in his quest into becoming the Pirate King. Subscribe for more.